Hey everybody, welcome back in. We are about to jump back into episode 2, but before we do that, I look forward to seeing you guys at the National. If you see me, say hello. Come to the YouTube get-together over at the Embassy Suites on Thursday night, and would love to hang out with you, get to know you, just know you on a personal level. So hang out. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be pizza and a lot of camaraderie and fellowship there. Just a bunch of card nerds getting together and talking. Tonight on this episode, on part 2, you're going to love it. We're going to get into some more obscure series, some really rare cards. That Babe Ruth that I cut it off, that was a little tease. You're going to love it. Also, at the end, we kind of discuss our collecting journeys a little bit and the importance of having community and things like that. So check it out. Jim is a great wealth of knowledge. He reminds me a lot of Dave Berg and the things I learned from Dave early on in my collecting journey and how that inspired me in going down the pre-war. So check this out. Hope you enjoy it. Leave me some comments. Tell me if you learned anything. Thanks a lot, and see you in the National. Yeah. So speaking of Ruth, let's go right into this one right here.
All right. That is, first of all, I apologize to your audience for the rough. I mean, some people are probably looking at that thinking, who would want that beater? It looks like someone crumpled it in their hand. And probably a lot of people have seen this set. A lot of people call them Propagandas Mont. They're the Reyes del Deporte means sport kings in Spanish. And that's what the set really is. It's a Sport King set, just like we had Sport King.
Yeah.
And this is a multi-sport set. A lot of baseball players, though. But what's special about this card is that Babe Ruth is card number 41 in the set. There are 3 or 4 graded cards where he was card number 4 instead.
Wow.
And PSA, as you can see, recognizes that. They slabbed it as that. And it's not a paper loss thing. You can tell when you look at the cards. It's clearly that it was meant to be number 4. And then it looks like at some point in the printing process, they changed it to make it 41. So
where's the number on the back?
Yeah, it's on the back. I'm going to show you, if I can. I'm going to show you. All right, so this is the card that's in that slide. And another sort of interesting thing is you can see how it's kind of red.
Yeah.
Most of these are yellow, but some of them are red. It's not unheard of for them to be red. But you can see on the back here, there's the number, and that's clearly card number 4.
Yeah, it is.
And then here is the other Ruth. And this one you can see is clearly 41.
Oh, dang.
So the card number 4 is extremely rare. I think there are maybe 3 of these graded. Most people don't. I mean, I know a lot of people that collect that set that when I'm thumbing through, I'll look at the Ruth and say, hey, which one is it? And they don't. They're like, what are you talking about? So, pretty cool. Here's something interesting too. So I set these cards in at the same time. This is I had these cards wrong, and this Ruth I sent in, and you can see it's in a normal size slab.
Yeah, let me pull you up again.
Yep.
All right.
So this is a normal size slab. Like here's the Al Demery card we just looked at. These are the same size slab.
Yeah,
right?
Standard size.
Now, same submission. Here's the Jimmy Fox. They sent this thing back.
Oh, dang.
In a huge slab.
What in the world?
I don't know why they did it. And it's kind of funny because I actually really like the way this Fox looks in this big slab. It's crazy they would do that.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Excuse me. Here is here's the Stan Musial from that set. Some people consider this to be his rookie card. It's earlier than his U.S. cards, but it is, of course, a foreign card. But that's a great picture of Musial.
It is. I've got that on a slide. You want me to pull that slide up?
Well, you certainly can. I've got some more just regular cards to show, but yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick. The only problem with that is I think I got another card beside it,
It's all
but
right.
that's no problem. So there it is.
Oh yeah, we'll get to Ernie in a minute. Yeah, so that's the Musial. Great picture. Somebody posted an article on one of the forums with the photograph from that.
Yep, I saw that
From
too.
that picture that shows that he was in fact in his St. Louis uniform.
Yeah,
That's not a minor league card or a uniform or a Cuban uniform. That's his Cardinals uniform. So
right.
that's one of my favorite cards. You can ask all you want to why that got a 1. None of us know. The guys that collect these cards, we had all seen them. I've got a bunch of cards that are graded higher than that from that set. Can't for the life of me see why they gave that a 1. But
Yeah,
it happens.
it's a beautiful card. The borders on those, are they are they mainly that color, that orangish
Yes.
gold color?
Yeah, they're usually that, but you do see a fair number of red ones.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I don't think the reds are as common, but you see them.
Are they pretty uniform in size? Because they
Yeah.
almost look like they're hand cut. I guess it's
No,
because the border's kind of funky.
yeah, they are. The borders tend to be funky, but if you look at the cards, Tony, like if you look at Lou Gehrig, they're almost always miscut the same way. Not
Okay.
always, but very often. It looks like the printing process did that. Here's
Yeah.
another red one. This is John Sullivan, the famous boxer.
Yeah.
And you can see this one's red as well. And of
Oh,
course, this is in really rough shape, but oh, cool card. So there are a number of boxers in that set before you get to baseball players. And then here is one of the, this is a Martin Diego.
Oh, dude,
He is
that's awesome.
a Hall of Famer, legendary Cuban and Negro League player.
Yeah, he is.
This and the Musial are probably the two best cards in the set, with the possible exception of that Ruth variation, which is so rare. But this is a really cool card of a really underrated player.
How many cards in that set, Jim?
It's 180 cards, but there are only about, and I should know this, but there are only about 75 or 80 major leaguers or former major leaguers.
I got you. Yeah, because they have
then there are a bunch of guys that played in minor leagues, Miami players that were Cuban.
Okay.
And then there are also a fair number of boxers, and then there's some odd stuff, like there's a female wrestler and a female swimmer.
Dang.
And I mean, it's got a few other cards in it. Here's one more from that set, Tony, that I'll show you just to, if I can get it out of the sleeve.
How were those distributed?
Candy Company.
Okay.
Candy Company. And they made them in, they made albums for them, just like people have probably seen the Caramelo Deportivo cards from 45 and 46. Same thing. They have albums, so you could presumably you could buy the stickers to go on the album. Here's a cool one because
I've got that one on another slide too.
It's autographed, and there are not a lot of these cards that are known to be autographed. In fact, there are, I think as of now, PSA has 8 of them in their population report, and they all came from the same collection. One guy got them all, and I know the guy, and he got most of them. Well, not most of them. He got them all autographed himself.
Right.
So
that goes back to that provenance thing when people are saying you can't trust autographs. Well, you can if you know the guy who got it.
Well, and more than that, he's he did a good job of. So he's a big fan. He would get them to sign uniforms, cards, little 8x10s. He's got photographs of himself, like when he visited Ted Williams' house. He's got a Ted Williams card autograph. He's got photographs of himself with Feller, with Williams, where they're signing the cards. And that's the kind of thing you can't you can't beat that.
That's
ever.
priceless.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yep. All right, you got another one of them to show, or you want to go over the next one?
Let's talk about Mr. Shore for a second.
All right.
Which is the card you've got there on the other side of the screen.
Yep.
Because this is one of the things about collecting that I like. Ernie Shore was from the same part of North Carolina that I live in, and he was born and raised here. Went off, made good, played with the Yankees. You probably know that he was Babe Ruth's teammate, battery mate, that he and Babe Ruth combined for that no-hitter perfect game where Ruth got thrown out after the first batter, arguing with the umpire. Ernie Shore came in and didn't allow another runner to reach base. They were, but because of their friendship, Ruth would sometimes come here and hunt on their farm and things like that. But what's interesting about Ernie Shore is not only was he a World Series, couple-time World Series champion, pitched well in the World Series, very good player, but he didn't have a long career. But what's interesting about him is he went on to be the sheriff of Forsyth County, North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
For like 32 years or something. He was the sheriff, kept getting reelected until he got too old to do it. And at the same time, Tony, that he was the sheriff here, the Andy Griffith Show was one of the biggest television shows in the United States. And that is also about a North Carolina sheriff from right up the road.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine what his life must have been like. He's a teammate of Babe Ruth's, a friend of Babe Ruth's, hunted with Babe Ruth, won the World Series twice with Babe Ruth. And then he's the sheriff at the same time that Andy Griffith is the sheriff.
Oh, wow.
So and his local field is, we have a baseball field here that Wake Forest played on and that our minor league team played on. He was instrumental in bringing Double-A baseball here.
Oh,
and
awesome.
The field here is named Ernie Shore Field.
And so, then
to me, that's a big
amazing.
Local connection. And then this card, these are tough. These Fleshman Bakery. This is the same bakery as on the buttercrust Fleshman cards from the D304 cards.
Yeah.
And these are oversized and just really hard to find. Not a lot of these survived. This is an example of a card where you were talking about the tab. Most of these, the tabs are torn off because you can redeem that tab for like a baseball glove or some prize. And so a lot of kids tore those off and sent them in. And but this one luckily has the tab on it.
That's incredible, man. Yeah. Where was that bakery located? In Virginia?
I think no. This is one of the New York.
Okay, awesome.
From the General Baking Company. And then I also have talking about Ernie Shore and you were talking about the 1916 cards. And I'm not going to have them all here, Tony, but this is his standard biscuit card from 1916 in his Red Sox uniform. Yeah. I think that's the only one of these I know.
I was going to say, there can't be many of those.
I think that's the only one. Here's a Burgess Nash, which is another really, really tough back.
Dang.
And that's Ernie again. And then there is, here's a Sporting News. These aren't as tough, but you got to have a Sporting News if you're going to try to collect these. Yeah. And these are, here's that Sporting News back you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
5 cents the copy if you want your edition of Sporting News.
Yeah. So you got the Ernie Shore rainbow, man.
I've got, again, the 1916s, there's a lot of backs.
Yeah.
I do not have nearly all of them. I think I've got about 7.
Okay.
There are some I'll probably never get though, that where the population is 1 or 2, or maybe they don't even know of one.
Yeah.
One other guy, let me show you this. Just because, again, I think it's a lot of fun to collect local stuff. And I know you do too.
Yeah.
This is Alvin Crowder. He went by General Crowder.
Yeah.
He won a key victory in the 1935 World Series that the Tigers won. He's also born and raised here. and also worked hard to bring baseball here after his career. This is his worked cigar card. These are tough.
Yeah.
Just because you don't see, I mean, you know, the odd size and everything. Probably weren't a lot of them printed.
Yeah.
But getting local stuff, you know, anything I can find of Crowder, I try to get to, just because he's from here.
Yeah, it's cool. That's how I am with the Nashville stuff. So let me pull this one off. All right, so are we ready to go to the next one?
Absolutely, it's your show, Tom.
I know. I just want to make sure you ain't got any more cool stuff. All right,
I can talk about these sets all day.
I'm going to jump right back into some pre-war. So, Jim, tell us a little bit about this one right here, buddy.
So Honus Wagner, of course, everybody knows about him. While all the smart collectors out there were buying portrait cards of him that skyrocketed in value, I was buying oddball, weird cards that just no one even knows what it is. So
yeah,
that tells you about how I do. But this, I love this set. These are kind of like the Colgan's Chips cards that you've seen, but these are much, much, much rarer. Juju drums, it's kind of like Juju candies. We don't know who made these, and we don't know how they were distributed really, or at least most of the people that collect them that I know. There are not enough of these to complete the set either. Like, there are players that we think they probably made, but no one can find an example. But there are about 46 of these guys known. This is one of 3, I think, Wagner's.
Oh, wow.
They're just tough that you don't see them. But one of the things I love about these is a lot of times they have a full body pose, an action pose, as opposed to just a portrait, which is pretty unusual. That card, you can't really tell on the screen, but that's about the size of a silver dollar.
Okay.
So, you know, you can, in real life, you can see that image real clearly. It's not tiny.
Yeah.
Just a really cool image of Wagner. There are some guys that have posted photos of Wagner where he's in that same batting pose, and the uniform looks the same. It's hard to, you can't be sure it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But there are photos out there that have basically that same image.
So
that's one of my favorite cards. I got this fairly recently. It was auctioned as part of a collection of a guy that I know that is a real serious collector. He's got great taste, a great eye for things, and this came up. It was one of his cards, and I really liked it.
Awesome. So these Juju drums, that was the lid, right?
That's the back of the card.
Right. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When it was distributed, it was the lid on some snuff, right?
No, it's a candy.
Was it candy?
It's a candy, kind of like Juju fruit is a.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you go back in place, we don't really know exactly who did this, but if you go back around the same time period, you can see Juju fruit was like Juju fruit and Juju candy and all, and that's what these were, as little discs of candy.
Oh man, awesome! Do you have any more of this? Or is this the only one in that set you have?
That's the only one I have. They just recently auctioned a Frank Chance and another one in REA, and unfortunately, as you probably know, Tony, very well, sometimes you have your eye on one thing and reach for it, and as you're doing that, you see something else come up and say, "Oh, I really wish I." You know, and I just did not I couldn't do it. But But so that's I'm always looking for more.
Yeah.
They're really, really, I mean, I think the total pop of all Juju drums cards is like 112.
Oh gosh.
Total. So the guys that have them aren't usually real anxious to part with them.
So is there like 20 different players or something like that?
46 players.
Oh wow.
So you're looking at 2 or 3 of each cob.
Wow. That's insane, man. Yeah, is there a cob in that as well? Or
there is a cob, and that's a portrait card. but it's
Okay.
a really good image. It's a cool card. I've seen one, but I can't remember the last time I saw one sell.
Is it the Horner image that you see on the T206s?
I can't say for sure it's the exact same image, but it's similar.
Okay.
It might
Awesome.
be the same.
All right. You
You
ready for
could Google that card. I mean, it'll come up. There, some have auctioned recently.
Okay.
Check
Yeah, I
it
need
out.
to check
It's a
that
great
out. All right. So this one is very similar to what we talked about earlier.
Yep, that's D304. I'm not. I apologize for throwing them at you in weird order, but
That's okay.
this is one of those cards that has the collector pedigree. You know, Lionel Carter. Everybody knows he was one of the big early collectors of cards, and you got to hit a certain level to have them put your name on the slab. And
Yeah.
I pulled this one up here because I figured that's where you're headed.
Ah,
Someday,
yeah, right.
Tony Southern collector is
No,
going to
I
be
don't-
on the slab.
I don't think so.
But this is cool. It's a general baking back. I didn't. I probably can show you if you will bear with me. I might be able to show you.
The colors on those are incredible.
Yep, this is another one. Now, some people don't like this card because they don't like the pose.
Yeah, he's got kind of a.
It's not the pose. I'm sorry. It's because they don't think his face looks like Wagner because the drawing isn't really that strong of his face. But I like the pose a lot, and I like the colors a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Here is why that's a 2. So you can see this card is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
And I would expect this card to be a 4, but this is a general baking back, and it has a little bit of paper loss. You can see in the general baking where the B is.
Yep.
You can see it's got that little paper loss,
Yep.
like a lot of these general bakings. That's what I was saying before. This is the highest graded general baking Wagner. That's how tough these are to find in high grade. A 2 it's the only 2.
Wow. Yeah, you know, he kind of looks cartoonish there and his head looks small. But there's one of these cards like this that's the illustrated cards. And I saw the picture of it that it was based off of, and it looked like him. Like he had kind of a small head. He had those real broad shoulders.
Fella. But I love that card. I love that, like you said, the colors and that pose. I really like the pose. But the colors on these cards are really cool. And then, you know, when you have them in hand, they pop.
Yeah. So is that that's not a high pop count.
There are 6 of the general baking back.
Yeah.
I mean, so just sort of ballpark, Tony, on these on the D304s, you're looking at between 35 and 55 total pop. Dang. With all backs. Okay.
I didn't realize that.
And then Brunners out of that would probably be like, let's say you had a card that had 50. Brunners would probably be 38 to 40. And then there's probably 1 Weber and 1 Martins or 2 Martins or 3 Martins and half dozen general baking and maybe a half dozen Fleshman. That's kind of those are much tougher than the Brunners backs.
Dang. All right. Well, again, I didn't have any idea. I didn't know. I knew they weren't plentiful, but I didn't realize they were that rare. That's wild.
I mean, I'm just hyping it up so you'll make me an offer. I have never sold a D304 card or traded one that I didn't have doubles. Just because I just don't want to part with them. Though that's, you know, some stuff you'll make sacrifices. But that said, I mean, I'm not saying you can never say never. There's always something you want. But that said, I try to just constantly trying to improve it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, you ready for the next one? Let's go into this. So what I did here, the card on the left, I blew up the image on the right so you could see the detail of it.
Yeah.
So it's the same card.
Real good, real crisp image of him. That's Clint Thomas. The Hawk was his name. He played for a long time. He's a guy, had a great career. he's a guy that in a different circumstance might have been like considered a Hall of Famer type guy. I think in our current circumstance, he's probably not likely to make the Hall of Fame at this point. You never know. I mean, there's always a push to recognize more and more, but he was known in his time as a great player, great fielder, great thrower, great hitter. Played with, I'm sure you're well aware because you're a student of it too, but these guys moved teams all the time.
Yeah, they did.
Because there wasn't a lot of continuity. There were all kinds of reasons for it, but it was basically the economics. Hey, this year these teams are offering more. We'll move to where the better money is. And so because of that, a lot of these guys played with each other, instead of having, we played against him a few games a year. You'll have guys that, a guy like Clint Thomas played with all the famous people you've heard of from the Negro League.
Yeah. I think Satchel Paige played on everybody's team at one time.
Yeah, exactly.
But they would play on their team and then just up in the middle of the season go, you know what, I'm going to go play for this team in Mexico. Or that time they went and played for the team in Dominican.
They'd have a falling out with the manager or the owner, or maybe
somebody just offer them more money. They're like, you know what, I'm going to do that.
When you go back to the Pop Lloyd book we were talking about, if you look through that, I mean, he played something like 17 or 18 different teams, some crazy number.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Josh Gibson, he set out of the Negro Leagues a couple of years and went and played in the Caribbean, and just, he offered him more money, so he stayed down there.
That auction we mentioned earlier, the Love of the Game auction that Al's got coming up, some really good Cuban cards generally, but especially from this set, there are going to be at least 4 or 5 big-time cards. There's a Toriente, there's a Dick Lundy, there's a Mendez, big cards of Hall of Famers.
So what's the pops on these? These have to be kind of rare.
That one, it's probably 11.
Wow.
Something like that.
And it's in great shape, man. I mean, the corners.
Yeah, this one, I got this from one of the prominent Cuban dealers everyone knows. I won't say his name here without running it by him, but he had this in a group of cards that I was able to pick it out of, and it's just you can't ask for a better picture than this one.
No, that's awesome.
Like that. I mean, you don't see these Agalitas cards in 7s and 8s. They're once in a blue moon you'll see a 6 or a 7, but usually almost all of them are 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, man. So we're gonna go to another one.
So we already talked about the feller. I don't know who told him he should try to look like Elvis in that picture.
Yeah.
But the one on the right, most of what we've been showing is pre-war stuff, but I collect the stuff later than that too, and probably like everybody started with that. I started out with my dad giving me stuff from the 70s, but then real quickly, well, Dad, let me hold your Willie Mays. And he would say no, but I could look at it, right? And so, of course, the next thing you collect is the 50s, the major golden age guys. And still love them. That's one of my favorite cards. That's the bazooka. That's a tall boy, a big card. The 59s. Yeah. Most of the bazookas are small, but the 59s are big. Yeah. The footballs, too. I don't know if you have paid attention to the football cards from 59, the bazookas. That's one of the prettiest sets ever made. Absolutely fantastic cards. But that Mantle pose, I mean, for my money, that's one of the very top Mantle cards that they ever made.
I agree. It's a beautiful.
I just love that card. And, of course, there's some disagreement about whether they should number grade the hand cut stuff. Yeah. But this one, the rule at PSA is if it's cut all the way outside the lines, which this one is, then they'll give it a number grade. And whoever cut this, my guess is someone found a box and cut it professionally because it is really straight.
Yeah,
But
it's showing all the dotted lines like they like.
but it's that card when you're holding it. I mean, it looks like it's brand new.
Man, it's beautiful. On the back of that, is it just like box
It's a blank.
material on the
Yep.
back? Okay.
Yep. It's just a
Yeah,
blank
that's
back
beautiful.
card.
I've seen those in cases. I've just never bought one. I think I saw one in Strongsville. It may not have been Mantle, but
Somebody has a 7,
wow.
which is the highest graded, and then there's this one.
Wow.
You don't find them with number grades that often.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. I've seen even the people have the boxes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Well, the Tony, they just had an auction in Memory Lane maybe almost a year ago, where there was a yellow variation box of this card,
Oh,
a
wow.
white variation box. Those are the two types of boxes, and one that had these things came with a tab under them, which so that auction had one with each type of box and one with the tab.
Dang.
And that all came from the same collector who also gave me that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you know everybody, man. It's good
No,
I mean,
not at all.
you know a lot of people though. You're pretty active on Net 54, I'm sure, and you know, like me and you just talking.
You can go on Net 54 and see who's really active. There are guys that are on that page all the time, and some of those guys, you know, when you're doing this, I'm not shy at all about reaching out to them, saying, "Hey, you know, you posted this article or you did this. You know, what can I read to learn more? What threads can I look at, or who can I talk to?" That's how I got into a lot of this stuff. In fact, talking about the D304s, just in case any of your folks care about it, this is one of the old cardboard issues. This is number 11 from spring of 2007. And in it, there is a fantastic article about the D304 set.
Oh, wow.
And it's got all kinds of information about which players are in which back, where they were made, and all kinds of information about the set in general. That's how somebody thought about and wrote that and put all that information together back in 2007. I wasn't even collecting that set back then.
Yeah, but they were passionate enough about it to do it.
And then that, you get that information and you start talking to the guys that have them, and next thing you know, you're hooked on it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to another golden era, one that's kind of close to my heart. I'm sure you got a story behind this one.
I do. That's not autographed like you seem to shake an autographed Jackie Robinson out of the tree every week. But this card my dad gave me when I was 16 years old. And wow. I was, as I said, I had been collecting. He collected with me. As a matter of fact, Tony, I've got the Beckett guide that I bought when I was 12.
I remember that one.
And I took this. And what's interesting about this is a $6.95 price tag. You could have gotten a mint condition 63 Mays for $6.95 according to the book. So I bought the wrong thing, but this is the book my dad and when I took it home and I said, "Dad, look at this. They got prices for all these cards." I actually knew about this before he did because I'd seen it somewhere, and so we got one. And we used to go to flea markets and we used to do all kinds of that kind of shopping and stuff. Well, at one point he said, "Look, you can't have a real collection without a Jackie Robinson." So he gave me that card from his collection. And of course, I've still got it. And in fact, this is a 5 only because I handled the card.
Yeah.
When he gave it to me, it was probably a 7 or an 8.
It's so centered, man.
But I held it a few times and took it in and out of binders a few times before. I got this card, of course, way before PSA existed.
Yeah.
So eventually sent it in. But the reason it's a 5, he used to tell me before he passed away that the reason it's a 5 is because I had it.
Did he pull that one from a pack?
No. But he had gotten it somewhere way before.
Okay.
Let me see if I can show you. just kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff my dad had.
Yeah.
He loved the 57 set, and he would go scour and buy. And anyway, all of these cards I'm about to show you, I submitted myself. But
Okay.
he had raw. And this will give you an idea of the kind of eye my dad had and the kind of what I had to grow up with. Okay. So this is a Nellie Fox. It's a PSA 9.
Good gosh.
He had this card raw.
That's insane.
I had to live up to that. When I would come back with cards, he'd be like, what's this crease?
Got some dirt on the border.
Here's his D Fondy.
Oh my gosh.
A 9. Here's his Bob Miller. A 9.
Man, wow.
His Burnett. A 9. You know, these are, it's crazy what he had.
Where would he get them?
Well, various places. He would get them at flea markets. He would get them from people who had saved their collections. Here's a string of 8s that he had. Jablonski. Here's a Jim Lemon.
Wow.
Again, these were all, I got more of these than I could show you. Al Kaline.
Yeah. Look at the color on that, man.
Oh, yeah. Look at this one here. This card here, I honestly think also should have gotten a 9, but it only got an 8. But look at this Billy Martin. Look at the color. Look at the centering.
Yeah. It's perfect.
And again, just a raw card he had. Here's a Drysdale rookie. It's a 7, but I don't know why. It's absolutely stunning. That's the kind of stuff he tried to collect. And, you know, of course, this is all before cards were graded.
Yeah.
So he cared about the eye appeal of the card a lot.
No doubt.
And
so that explains this one.
Well, I mean, again, he I think was probably frustrated that it didn't have the sharp corners it should have after I had it for a while. But that card, you know, I've still got all the football sets we put together. I've still got all his 57s. He collected. He also collected a lot of like Ted Williams cards. I've still got all those. There's just certain stuff he had that I'd never sell. What's funny is he collected after. So he and I collected together until I was in my, you know, maybe mid-20s. And then we would go to shows together, but we didn't live in the same town anymore. Well, he kept accumulating stuff. So I'll still go through boxes to this day where I'm like, I didn't know he had this. And I'll start flipping through it and realize that, you know, a lot of the boxes are labeled, but they're not always labeled completely. Like he might say 1972 Commons, and then tucked in the back, he's got 71s, and it's Pete Rose. You know, it's, you know, there's still, you know, as he got older, he wasn't quite as careful about labeling everything. So I still to this day will occasionally find stuff I didn't know he had.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though, man. So we got one more. We're going to pull it up. You ready? We're getting a whole nother era. So
this is another card of my dad's. My dad was really just excited that they started making basketball cards again in the mid 80s when the Star Company cards and Fleer cards came out. In fact, I've still got all the 86 Fleers that we collected together. He bought some boxes of those. I've still got all those cards. And if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have any of those.
Yeah.
He was, you know, he was into that. But he saw that these cards came in Crunch and Munch boxes, which is like Cracker Jacks. You probably know.
Yeah.
Well, he started buying he'd buy them all the time to try to get the cards, right? So that Jordan is his card from just what he pulled out of the box.
It looks perfect.
Yeah, it's nice. PSA's tough on these. You know, they don't give you don't see a lot of 9s and 10s in these cards.
So what's the pop on a Crunch and Munch card in the store?
I'd have to look to see what the pop is. So there's no, as far as I know, there's no 10s and only 1 or 2 9s.
Okay.
Maybe they're 10 or 12 or 14 8s, something like that. But that, to me, that's just a special card just because it was his.
Yeah.
We collected those together.
It's awesome too.
I love that card. Great, pretty card. It's got that
Chicago uniform on.
He's got that tongue sticking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's before he started shaving his head.
Now you can find a lot more. Talking about the pop on these, it used to be PSA didn't grade the Star Company cards,
exactly,
and Beckett did. So you can find a lot more of them that are graded by Beckett. The issue is Beckett's not as tough on centering for these cards, so you'll see 8.5s and 9s in Beckett, and that PSA won't cross to that. You got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
If you're trying to cross them. But yeah, sentimental value, but also it's a Jordan. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any of the 84 Star Jordans? Did he end up with
sadly, Tony, I made a deal or two in the past. And unfortunately, I do not currently possess. We did have one, but unfortunately I failed to appreciate Michael Jordan where he was going.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. There's no doubt about it.
And you have these back, 8 years ago, you could have gotten all the PSA 10 86 Fleers you wanted for a tenth of what they are now.
I know. I missed the boat on that.
Crazy, and that Star Company card has really gone crazy, but it's well deserved. I mean, that's an iconic card, and he's a legend. He's one of a kind.
Yeah, he is. Well, Jim, I'm fired up. We got to do this, and that I got to be the guy to bring you on YouTube and show your stuff off and let the world see your knowledge.
I'm a recluse, Tony. I don't like this publicity. I do appreciate. Let me just say this. First of all, I really appreciate you're doing this, but I do want to say this, especially during COVID, but not just COVID. When you're getting back in the hobby or just getting energized about the hobby, to be able to watch all these YouTube videos that guys make about their collections, it's awesome. We didn't have that back in the old days. Nothing even close to that. I mean, of course, you've always had shows and communities you could participate in, but not like this. And so what you guys are adding to the hobby, I think is a great thing. And for me personally, there have been a lot of times where I've just turned on the computer, watched 5 or 6 videos and said, okay, I'm going to go find that card, or you learned something about a part of the hobby you didn't, or just see people's passion.
Yeah.
So really appreciate your having me on, but I love watching what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. It helped me because when I got into YouTube, I was doing the golden era stuff, and then I saw Dave Blue Jacket 66, Dave Berg's stuff, and he's like you. He doesn't need notes. He can just tell you all about the cards and how they were distributed.
I've seen many of his videos, and I've interacted with him some online. His collection's unbelievable. But like you say, his knowledge, he cares about it. He's curious about it. What's cool about his videos is when he doesn't know something, he'll say, okay, I just spent 3 days researching this, and here's everything I found. He shows you what he shows his work. And so he makes great stuff. Same thing with me. Watching guys like that has really kind of makes you even more connected to them.
That's right. That's right. Well, I hope some people, learn some things. Maybe it's kind of got their juices flowing. Maybe you want to learn more about some of the
or they can teach us stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
When stuff we were talking about, where we're like, I don't really know, or we don't know who did this. And we're like, yeah, we do. Here's what it is. I love hearing people, come back and explaining things to me that I didn't know.
Yeah, well, it cracks me up because I get people reaching out to me on Instagram, DMing me or whatever, that have watched my videos, and they're asking me questions, and I'm thinking to myself, I do know the answers, but 5 years ago I didn't. I just got passionate and started. Now there's guys like you that make me look like a kindergartner. But you know what, man? I'm passionate about it. If you want to learn about something, you can read books, you can go on YouTube, you can do all kinds of things. Just getting that REA catalog in, when they have a big auction and just reading through that thing.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, so there's all kinds of ways to learn and educate
Well,
yourself. You just
Tony,
can't be lazy about it.
Tony, the Cuban stuff,
Yeah.
the way I got into that was there was a guy in Miami with a big collection, but he's not a card guy. He's a memorabilia guy.
Yeah.
And but he had a bunch of cards, but he also had a bunch of memorabilia. And he reached out to some people looking for someone to give him some guidance. And so I flew down there to meet him. We have mutual friends. And the whole point was for me to kind of help him figure out how best to present some of these things to auction houses and people like that. Well, going through his stuff is how I got really hooked on the Cuban stuff.
Yeah.
That was just 6 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But being around him, learning from him, next thing you know, that's like one of the focus of my collection.
Yeah, and then once you do that, then the door opens, like you want to learn more about the Negro League guys. And then you go down that path. That's how it is with me. Like one door opens and then I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that. And I just want to learn about it and read a book or watch a video or a documentary. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what's cool, man. Just the older we get, I've said this before, the older we get, the more we look back. It's just in our DNA, in tribes, in churches, in synagogues. It's the older people who pass down the history to the younger people. It's because we start realizing we've been through this and our years are more behind us than in front of us. And we look back with fondness.
Easy
No, I'm
now.
just
Wait a
saying,
minute.
it ain't a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
I want to learn about the history of baseball and the players and their stories and then the cards and the history behind the cards. And it's just so interesting to me. It's like a switch was flipped in me about 5 or 6 years ago when I hit 50. And it's just what it is, man. Maybe not everybody goes through that, but it's definitely happened to me.
I think an awful lot of us do. And there's nothing more fun than when you meet somebody that's passionate about it, but you're introducing them to a part of the hobby they haven't touched before.
Yeah.
And then they get into it. That's one of the most fun things.
Yeah.
And they're coming back, and pretty soon they come back knowing more than you know.
I know.
That's how it works, right? But yeah. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough. And I'll look forward to seeing your next ones.
All right, Jim. I'm gonna hit the end recording. Hang on. I want to see you after this. Thank you.